When I went to a little school in Vermont named Goddard College, I signed up with a class with this fellow who had just recently graduated. And he'd gone to the neighborhood playhouse for a year and had not been invited back for the second year. So he went up to Goddard and started teaching as a student, as a teaching fellow, they called it. And his name was Dave Mamet. And it was a hippie school where everything was negotiable. Why should you be the teacher and I'm the student? Could we discuss that? And why do I have to? The class starts at 9. Why should I be here at 9? Everything was negotiable.
Why should I wear clothes?
Why should I wear clothes? Why should I do what you say? Everything was up for grabs. It was the height of, or it was the beginning of the hippie time. And Dave Mamet walked in everyone wore military fatigues in those days, but his were pressed and tailored, and he looked like a god. And he brought a huge amount of authority with him, and he brought rules which were inviolate. And he's the first guy I've ever heard say that acting is a noble profession, that our job is to tell the truth. And he instilled us with this religious fervor about acting. And so I'd spent years doing that. And Goddard, as I said, it was a hippie school, so nothing else was required of me. And we devoted all our time to practicing technique. And so when I started teaching at Atlantic, it was through NYU, and Dave called me up and he said, "Billy, I got this new way, I want you to teach." And he had taken basically the Meisner technique and gone one step further, where Stanislavski and by extension Strasberg and Meisner had talked about what the character was doing. Dave made a separation. This is so esoteric, but it's rather profound ultimately. There's a difference between what the character is doing and what the actor is doing. And I was playing catch-up ball because he'd come up with this thing. As before he'd written about it much. And it was, I brought into these classes that same fervor that David had brought into the original classes. It's all I knew. And I guess it must have been relatively frightening for those students because it was deadly serious, deadly serious.
I don't think it was frightening. I think it was empowering. They all came back like apostles.
Yes. Yes, and to Dave's credit, he would say things like, if it doesn't make sense, question it. And if it continues not to make sense, consider perhaps it doesn't make sense. He was also, I love that he said, you deserve respect. As a student, as a performer, you always deserve respect. And if people don't treat you with respect, dump them, get away. And so he gave us respect. Mm-hmm. He was a harsh master, but he gave us respect. And you could feel the rules. It became clear after a while when work was good and work wasn't good. And I think that's what we brought to this NYU class, which evolved into the Atlantic Theater Company.